with more replays, and we're going to watch Rec V5 play a little bit of defense today to start things off.
Yes, well, this was in our other league where we're playing reversed roles. I'm playing defense, and Salmon99 is playing offense. And we had to play the zombies with our crappy cupcake team here. And it wasn't very pleasant. We got totally thrashed in this game, but we had one bright moment, and that was I was sitting here playing the 46 defense on their goal line after a good punt. And yeah, I guess you'll see why you play the 46 defense. I actually prefer it to the goal line because it's more spread out. It's got more additional layers for making tackles and things like that, and it just works better.
You got a little more speed on the field, too.
That's right, yeah. So they're going to run a toss play here, and they're coming to the outside, but everything works out, and we've got Edwards here, the middle linebacker, coming all the way in from the inside, just running around their defensive or offensive lineman there to make this tackle. And we go and we get a safety on the zombies.
Yep, an all Madden team that actually beat us very badly, as I recall. I think they had over 60 points against us.
Yeah.
Like they thrashed us like 60-24 or something like that, right?
Yeah, not just their offense was good, their defense was also good. I think we had like 3 turnovers in that game.
Yeah.
It was bad.
I was playing offense too, though, and as we all know, I am not exactly the greatest offensive mind in the world, but we started off looking at a little bit of Rec V5 playing defense.
Yep.
So, there you go. Rec V5 scores a safety on the all Madden zombies. And
okay, so with this one, we're playing a game against the Pirates, and it must be a third down or situation or something like that, because I'm lined up in the nickel wide. And we got a situation where they're lined up in split backs. So even though I'm lined up in the nickel wide, and even though they don't got a tight end in, which means Zach Mack can get into the backfield, it's not going to be a huge impact type of thing because they could easily leave in a running back to block.
which I think they did.
Yeah. But, yeah, and that's exactly what happened there.
They left both of them in, actually.
But on the defensive tackle lineup, we have Roble here, and Roble is the young guy. He's almost a rookie. He's got good strength, but he's kind of a developing player. He's not the best at tackling, not great in terms of his other stats, but he is strong. And so, even though, oddly enough, actually, he's smaller than McGrady, he's stronger than McGrady. And so I just managed to come in here and I overpower this guard. And I managed to get into the backfield and just sack the quarterback. Good old sack. Part of what enables this too, though, is the coverage that goes on here. So we've got just a short spy from Ben French. And we've got some man coverage going on here. It looks like somebody was locked up on a blocker, so they're going to drop back like they're in a short zone.
Yeah, and your two linebackers stayed there because both of the running backs stayed in to block. Eh?
Yeah, but we got man under two type of scheme. And I mean, maybe that post looks like it's probably good, but by the time that post is open, I'm already hitting that guy.
Yeah, so. He doesn't even wave until the quarterback's already in your arms, actually.
Yeah.
If you look at him, he doesn't put his hand up until you've already got a hold of the quarterback. It's already way too late.
Yeah. And so that was sometimes if you're lucky and you got a defensive lineman who's strong, you can get this kind of thing sometimes, just because he's strong.
Well, a bit of skilled defensive line play too, because you're outnumbered 7-4, and you still manage to get in there. And the fact that they left both of their backs in the block too means that they had very few passing options. So, like if you look to the left, they had the left wide receiver there, but he was pretty well covered.
Yep.
And the right wide receiver was also pretty well covered. So basically that just left the slot guy, and it just took too long for him to run that deep post. I think what happens when you have the most defensive line success I've noticed is when the AI is trying to throw a long pass.
Yeah, I could agree with that.
Because then it takes longer for the receivers to run down the field, and your coverage short doesn't have to be quite so good. And because lots of times when you almost get him, but you don't quite when he gets the ball away, it's because he's throwing a short pass.
Yeah.
But he didn't, like in this particular case, the AI did not have any short options at all.
Probably audibled both of these backs to block, actually.
Probably, yeah. It was a max protect type of situation, and they were just trying to throw a long bomb. And of course, that's a dangerous thing to do against Rec B5.
Yeah, I tend to play a lot of coverage. I don't play a lot of blitz. I play a lot of coverage.
And particularly deep pass coverage.
Yeah. I don't like it when the AI throws the ball over my head, so I try to prevent that at all possible.
Yeah. Yeah, you're a little bit permissive against the short pass, but it's pretty tough to throw a bomb against you.
Well, you see, I have a strategy, it's, as long as they take up a lot of time to score, then I can come back and I can score in pretty much the amount of time that I feel is necessary.
Yeah. What's the score in this game anyway? Let's see if we can remember. Now, it's
see?
been a while. We're up 27-7.
Yeah, so they're definitely passing.
So they're definitely passing. It's in the
fourth quarter.
It's in the fourth. No, that's fourth. Yeah, it's in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And there's only about 8 minutes left or something. So they're in a situation where they are 9 minutes left. So they're in a situation where they pretty well have to pass anyway.
Yep.
But as I recall, I think we won this game.
Yep.
And we handled them rather easily. Like the old bend but don't break type of strategy seems to work pretty well.
Yeah, generally speaking, actually, the only thing that's really ever given me fits is like if you come across a thing where the one of the AI teams has like a 90 speed fullback or something like that.
Yeah.
Like that's just crazy.
Yeah, the short passes to the running back and the short passes over the middle. But anyway, we'll move on here. So we're back to look at another defensive replay.
Against the Pirates again, because they're kind of actually crappy on offense.
Yeah, only this time you're playing a standard 4-3.
Yep.
With man lock under 2 deep safeties.
Yep. And the reason why I'm playing a 4-3 here is because I try to match my play calling to the type of personnel they have out on the field. So they only got 2 wide receivers, so I'm only going to put 2 DBs out there, right? But because they could have an extra linebacker, in this case they have an extra linebacker, or sorry, because they have an extra tight end, right? They have a tight end out there, and then they've also got a fullback out there. I'm going to line up in a 4-3 because then I'll have guys who are of the right size to kind of deal with those types of players.
Yeah, basically you call plays appropriate to what you see coming out onto the field.
That's right, yeah.
Which is something I've noticed that the defensive AI does not do.
No, they will line up in a 4-3. If you line up in a single back normal or some other 3 wide receiver set, they will line up in a 4-3.
And sometimes they'll throw a nickel out there when you come out in a big set.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't really... I think they pick plays more on yardage rather than personnel, but I pick plays on personnel.
Yeah.
And
it seems to be a workable strategy.
Yeah, so that's what I'm doing here. And I think this one is, again, just a man under 2 type of thing. I played a lot of man under 2 in this game, and it worked pretty well. Just they didn't adapt well. And so I'm controlling McGrady there in the middle this time. And I'm coming around the middle. And interesting to note going on here is on the left, it looks like they're going to double team Zach Mack. Zach Mack gets past his guy, so the halfback is there to help block him. But in the middle here, I actually managed to push past the guard here and get back and sack the quarterback. So they can double team one guy, but they can't double team both of us.
Yeah, and McGrady is the guy who can push people around.
Yep.
Roble isn't the only guy that can push people around. Actually, your 2 defensive tackles, considering that they're cupcake players, are both pretty good, actually.
Yeah. Well, the big thing about Roble is he's lacking in stats, but he's pretty strong. McGrady isn't the strongest guy in the world, but he is fast off the line. And so I think that's what contributes a lot to this here, too.
Yeah,
and I kind of hit this guy at an angle, and that probably allows me to get through him while he's kind of off balance, trying to adjust to where I'm coming from.
Yeah, and I'm not sure what happened with the center there. It looked like he was going to try and double team you, but
Yeah.
your first step was quick enough that you got around him before he even had a chance to engage you.
Yeah. And so that's basically how that worked.
Yeah.
But yeah, McGrady is a bit quicker, even though he's the big guy.
Yeah.
As you can see by the way they're lined up, he's the
Yeah.
quick guy, and Robal's actually the slow guy.
Yeah, and it looks like Zach Mack there on the left actually helped you out a lot too.
He made
this all possible because he occupied the extra blocker they left on that side as well as the tackle.
Yep.
The tackle tries to move back and make the save there, but Zach Mack managed to keep him busy long enough that he couldn't do that.
Yep.
And another interesting thing is they left the tight end in to block, right?
Yep.
And watch the fullback sneak through the line and try to head for the flat. But you can't really throw that pass because you'll notice that there's a linebacker following him. Oh, look at, he turns up the field. He's running one of those weird circle in passes, right?
Yep. And it looks like he does beat the linebacker on that, but by the time that he's actually there, it's too late anyways.
Yeah, and it wouldn't have mattered that he beat the linebacker because you've got another guy sitting in the middle there anyway.
Yep. Actually, that guy has a coverage assignment, I think, on the blocking back of all people.
Yeah.
So he's just kind of hanging back. Sometimes they convert into a rush assignment, sometimes they hang back in a zone. It just seems to be, I'm not quite sure what influences that, honestly.
Well,
but,
it's one of the advantages, though, to playing a man-lock style of defense is that your linebackers, if they leave the man that the linebacker is responsible for covering in to block, he'll hang around short in the middle of the field there and really helps out to shut off a lot of those short passes over the middle.
Yeah.
But anyway, it looks like you had them wrapped up, and it looks like, what does the coverage downfield look like here?
It should, I'm pretty sure it's just a simple man under two type of scheme.
Yeah, and it looks like it's weird. They left the halfback and the tight end into block. They sent the fullback and two wide receivers. And they were running a hook with the wide receiver on the left and on the right. And basically, there's no way that, like the two defenders on those are perfect position to jump in front of them and knock the pass away.
Well, I definitely think the fullback could have done something here, but the blocking just had to hold up for a little longer.
Well, I think also, though, maybe one of the reasons why the quarterback didn't throw the ball, because he did lift his arm like he was going to throw, but then he didn't. And possibly he might have seen that linebacker in the path of the ball there, standing there, right?
Yeah, just kind of hovering around, looking at the play develop.
I don't know. I mean, there's pros and cons to leaving extra people into block, but I think in this particular case, they did not do themselves any favors. They might have been better off to send the tight end over the middle or something, to try and draw some coverage away if they wanted to throw to the fullback underneath, or if they wanted to throw one of those short hooks.
Yeah, well, I actually even lined up on their tight end side here. I shifted over to their tight end side because I thought actually they'd call a run play in this situation.
Yeah, well, you got to watch out for that because they can burn you with a run if you shift to the weak side all the time.
Yep.
But anyway, it looks as though it was well executed defensive line play again. Possibly not such a good play selection on offense. So now we're going to look at an offensive play. And I know I've been openly critical of how the AI sometimes leaves too many people in to block, and therefore they limit their passing opportunities and make it easier for the defense to cover them. Well, now I'm going to talk about how much of a hypocrite I am.
Oh, God.
Because this is me playing with the Leopards against the Marshals earlier today, actually.
Oh, and this is the clown pass, isn't it?
Yes. In the last game that we played with the Lifers, you were very critical of a play that you saw me run before that game with the Spitfires, where I left everybody into block except for one guy, and you called it the clown pass.
Oh, God.
And so I figured I would demonstrate the clown pass. So here we go. What I've done is, as you can see, the AI defense is man-locked. They've got everybody in the middle. I'm in a big I set. The wide receiver is off to the right. So what I do, I've got a variety of pass patterns drawn for all 5 eligible receivers, but I abandon that completely. I do hot route blocking audibles for both tight ends and both running backs, and I leave one pass play or one pass route intact. And one of the reasons that I can do this and get away with it is because of the way that the AI plays defense. When they man lock and they have everybody in the middle of the field and there's one-on-one coverage on that wide receiver, I don't really need to worry about the fact that I have only got one pass pattern, because I know that if I get enough protection and I can stand in there long enough, that wide receiver will come open and I will be able to throw it to him. So let's take it away.
Yeah, we're heading to the fumble dimension.
All right, so you'll notice that I drop straight back. They're sending everybody. You see that guy coming from the right-hand side? So I stop there, and I look, and I watch, and you see the extra blocker there pick him up. He gets flattened right away, but he does perform the function. And I stand in there with my feet planted. I throw the ball perfectly led to the outside. The wide receiver catches it, and that's about a 15-yard gain.
God.
So if you back up now and isolate the pattern on the wide receiver, you'll notice that this is actually a pattern that RecV5 invented, where he cuts in to the middle, one box, and then straight ahead, one box, and then does a 45-degree cut to the right, and then the pattern just sort of heads out at a 1 square above horizontal toward the sideline. And the way that this pattern is drawn, there is no way, if this ball is thrown properly, led toward the outside, there is no way that any defender can defend this pass route. Okay? This is one of the reasons why I stole this idea from RecV5X, because I watched him throw this pattern, although he doesn't leave as many people in the block as I do. But, like again, if you go back and watch, look at how the pocket forms. And I mean, they're bringing extra people. They're blitzing the safety, right? That's the safety coming around there that my poor little 5'5" hatback has to pick up.
And gets
right?
pancaked by.
And he gets pancaked by him, but it does delay him long enough that I'm able to throw that ball, and you get a perfect view of where the coverage is on this pass and where the ball is going. And the wide receiver has a very easy catch here. And the line of scrimmage here is about the 30-yard line, and he gets stopped at about the 10. So that's almost a 20-yard gain. Well, okay, 15-yard gain. I guess the line of scrimmage was a 25. So this was a 15-yard pass.
Yeah, about the best thing you can do against this type of pass route, because actually a lot of the defensive schemes that I design against my own playbooks. And so you've got to have either a fast player who plays the flats who can drop backwards against this kind of thing and have the awareness to actually do that, or you have to have somebody playing curl flats, and then they'll end up standing basically right in front of where your player is right there.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the AI play selection seems to favor a lot of man coverage and not a lot of zone. And I actually started developing a playbook for the AI to use on defense, which consists a lot more of mixed man, mixed zone type of coverage assignments in order to try to mitigate the crappy play selection that they seem to gravitate towards.
Yeah, because this looks like it was almost like a one deep scheme. I'm not sure what the shallow guy short there is doing. Maybe he's dropping back in the hook zone or something.
Yeah, it looks like it might be robber.
Yeah, but anyways, it's basically a man coverage, and it looks like all of the man coverage guys who were locked up on the tight ends and or running backs basically joined the pass rush.
Yeah.
So you ended up with 8 men basically on the pass rush. And of course, I had, 8 men blocking or 10 men blocking. So my blockers outnumber the pass rushers. And it allows them to form up a little pocket there, and I can just stand in there long enough for that pass to work. So there you go, folks. We referred to it We had a little bit of banter back and forth about it in our last Lifers
Clown
game.
pass.
I was trying to get Rec V5 to throw the clown pass.
I will never throw the clown pass.
He does have the wide receiver running a similar route to this one out of his big eye formation, but he absolutely refused to try and run the clown pass so people could see it. So here we go. I ran the clown pass in this game, and you know, like, this is actually, as I mentioned before, about 6 or 7 times out of every 10 that I try it, it works.
God.
So we'll move on. So we're back again looking at the Crusaders offense, which is run by yours truly. And as you can see, we're lined up in my version of the wishbone.
Yep.
And in my version of the wishbone, it's a bit different than Rec V5's in that I have a wide receiver split to the left. I have a tight end in tight to the line on the right. Directly behind the quarterback is the second string fullback, who, judging by his number, is a converted tight end.
Yep.
And then to the quarterback's right in the backfield is number 86, who is
Adam Parkman.
Adam Parkman, the slowest fullback in existence. And of course, the guy on the left, number 29, is Pete Clark, our halfback. Now, the main play that I have designed that I call as a default or initial call out of this formation is an off-tackle run to the right to the halfback, because it's a very powerful play that has basically 3 big guys leading the way.
Yep.
And the object of the play is to mow over the right-hand side of the defense and hopefully pick up a few yards. You know, like, it's, you know, pretty strong play with heavy blocking.
Mm-hmm.
But every now and then the defense lines up shifted the way that they are right here. So they shift the line over. It looks like they might have the linebackers playing in some kind of man lock, although the left outside linebacker is pretty long ways over there. So it might be just a linebacker shift over, and the middle guy might be just doing
Cheating
that
up.
little cheat thing like they do sometimes.
Yep.
But anyway, the way that I designed this play, of course, in this formation is that I can use the playmaker stick to reverse the play without anybody moving. And in fact, what happens then is, instead of handing the ball to Clark, the ball gets handed to Parkman. And number 85 there and Clark lead the way in the opposite direction, basically running the same off-tackle play.
Yep.
And in this particular case, this is what I did. And we had a good laugh on this because Parkman's basically the slowest fullback ever.
Yeah, he has 49 speed.
Yeah. So, you know, like, really, the idea that you could even successfully run with a player like this is really funny. But watch how the blocking all sets up. And you see the wide receiver way downfield there, picks up the free safety, which is amazing. And then the halfback there gives the corner a shove and knocks him out. And there you go. Then he even gets up there and gets a piece of that defender. And finally, there's the linebacker who comes in to make the play. But Adam Parkman, the 49 speed fullback, tears off a 12-yard off-tackle run.
Just to give you an idea of how slow he is, we'll run this at full speed. It's like watching it in slow-mo.
Yeah, he is a slow player, but you know what? I run this play with the Spitfires. I run this play with the Leopards. And actually, both the Spitfires and Leopards have a somewhat quicker fullback. And both of those guys typically get between 40 and 60 yards rushing a game, like by this and other plays that are designed to go to the fullback.
Yeah.
Although this play, like I said, is not necessarily designed to go to the fullback. I prefer to hand it to the halfback and let the fullbacks and the tight end lead. But sometimes the defense shifts to that side completely, and they completely give away the left side of the formation, or the right side. I have a right-hand version of this too, where the wide receiver lines up on the right and the tight end's on the left. And the reason that I line up with the wide receiver on the wide side of the field is because if I do have to audible to a pass, well, obviously from a tight formation like this, the most frequent kinds of pass patterns you're going to run are going to be corners or outs. And when you have the wide receiver basically lined up with the wide side of the field to his left, he's got lots of room to run those kinds of patterns. So that's why I do that. And so I'll power run toward the short side of the field. If I have to, I'll try and run with the fullback to the wide side of the field. Quite often, typically I get 3, maybe 4 yards out of this play if everything works out well, but occasionally the blocking really sets up. And then if I have a fullback who's got around low 60s to mid 60s speed, sometimes I can pull off like a 20 or 25 yard run before somebody finally chases him down.
Yeah. Although interesting of note is Adam Parkman has a fairly high strength rating as a result of the fact that he's so slow. And as a result, he does tend to just fall forward, fall over top of people. He doesn't really get stood up too much. But I mean...
Yes, I use him in dive type situations a lot too, because I do have a couple of straight ahead dive plays that I call out of this formation too in short yardage situations.
Yeah.
And Parkman is actually
really good at that.
For the Crusaders, he's one of my favorite go-to guys. If I need a yard,
he'll get you a yard.
He'll get me a yard, and he usually does.
Yeah.
Because
he's basically an offensive lineman.
He may not make it quite to the line of scrimmage before he gets hit, but usually when he gets hit, he falls forward.
Yeah.
So, anyway, that's enough of that. But that was kind of amusing to watch a slowpoke pick up a 12-yard run. Just like that. So, before we continue, I want to go back to the clown pass one more time.
Oh, God,
Just to point out that in that game, I was actually playing on all Madden difficulty. Okay?
Yeah.
And not only was I playing on all Madden difficulty, but I had the AI defensive sliders adjusted so that awareness and knockdowns were at maximum.
Yeah, that's been something we've been experimenting with lately.
Yeah, because what I found is I actually played an entire season with the Spitfires on all Madden difficulty, and I won the Super Bowl again.
Mm-hmm.
I finished 15-1. And the only difference that I noticed, I was still racking up ridiculous amounts of points. I was scoring, between 40 and 50 points a game.
Yep.
The only thing I noticed is that the AI suddenly went, and their play selection went from fairly balanced on All-Pro to about a 4-to-1 pass-to-run ratio.
Yeah.
And this was regardless of the score or success of their plays or the time left in the game or whatever. It just seems like whoever built this game decided in their heads that it would be more difficult to play against an AI that throws the ball all the time. And as I've commented before, and as you've seen in other games that we have played, particularly with the lifers, the teams I have the hardest times defending are the ones that can run about half the time.
Yeah.
Because if I don't know if they're going to run or pass, then I have to at least somewhat respect the run, which gives them the opportunity to pass.
Yeah.
And whereas on all Madden, after a while, that's why I developed the current defensive strategy that I have, where I developed a 3-3 nickel with a wide posture. And I basically play man lock under 2 deep all the time. I'm inviting them to run the ball, and they still pass 4 times as often as they run.
Yep.
Even if they occasionally rip off a long run on me because I've got the wrong kind of personnel on the field, I put the nickel on all the time pretty well, even against big sets, because I'm going to say I'm working on taking away the pass, because that's what they do.
Yeah, they're going to pass it of everything they line up in.
Pretty much, yeah. So anyway, getting back, I just figured that was worth a mention, because I forgot to mention that when we were looking at that replay, but that was against a
souped up all Madden
AI. Okay, it was on all Madden difficulty with AI sliders to try and give the defense an advantage, and I still completed that pass for 15 yards. So anyway, getting back to this now. With the Crusaders, we did have a bit of a struggle we're near the end of our season 1 with the Crusaders now, and I think we're tied for first place in our division. But we're not going to win the division because the bad men are going to win the tiebreaker.
Yep.
We split the games with the bad men, and they beat us by more points in the win that they got than we beat them by in our win. But that's okay. We did really well. And this is one of the plays that got us here. And what I do basically is I bring out the single back normal, and I have a run play that I by default call, and I use the out of the box play action quick hits play as an audible. And if the defense, like the Pirates here again, they were our victims for a few replays this time around.
They were a terrible team.
If they dare to come out in a 4-3 against a 3 wide receiver set, I audible to the play action quick hits and watch what happens to the free safety.
Also important to note, just before we run this, is our quarterback got hurt too. Our starting quarterback. So we actually got a secondary guy in, and he's terrible.
Yeah, we're playing with a backup here, and we had to play about a 6-game stretch with this guy. And he managed to compile something like a 3-3 record, even though he's not a very good quarterback. But
he's also a lefty, so it does weird things on some of the pass plays where they have special drop back patterns and things like that, and you'll see that here.
Yeah, it's actually very visible here. So we go back, we do the play action fake, right? And then he sort of does some really awkward looking footwork there.
Yeah, because it wants him to roll right, but he's supposed to go left because the play goes to the left.
Yeah, because I think actually the receiver running the wide receiver screen on the right is actually the main receiver.
Yep.
But I managed to get him going in the right direction, and he steps up and throws, and I get a nice arcing pass, and the free safety is way out of the play, and he dives and misses, and then I manage to turn and just at the right moment, and the next guy dives and misses, and then there's nobody left. So that's a long bomb touchdown. But watch the free safety on the play fake here, because that's what made this.
Yeah, and so he comes down and he freezes a little bit in the middle of the field.
Yeah.
Before he starts to actually realize what's going on.
Yeah, he has to stop and diagnose the play. And then what happens is, even though you can see how much separation that created, it didn't look like he completely bid on it, but it just froze him just for a split second.
Yeah.
Which was just enough to give Coleman there some room on the outside to catch the pass.
Yeah, and Coleman's not as slow as your average cupcake receiver either. He's got 80 speed in the slot, so while that's not exactly runaway fast, it's more than good enough to play the wide receiver position. It's about the bare minimum, actually.
Yeah. But
and then you manage to juke the other guy here.
Yeah. And then there's just a lineman and a linebacker left in pursuit there, and they're not going to catch me.
Yep.
So anyway, that was a nice, about almost 60-yard pass and run for a touchdown on the play action. And you know what? I like to make the defensive AI pay when I line up in a 3 wide receiver set and they come out in a 4-3. Right? I love to make them pay. I actually deliberately set up audibles like this so that I can call the run play by default. And if they put a nickel defense out when I'm out with the run play called, I'll just run the run play. And I usually pick up 3, 4, 5 yards.
Yep.
But if they come out in a 4-3 or a 3-4 standard, well then I know that they don't have enough speed on the field, and if somebody gets fooled by the play fake, I'm probably going to score a touchdown, or at least get a big gain.
Important about this too is the guy who comes over here is actually the strong safety. Right, and he bid on the play fake too, but he's aware enough and quick enough that he comes back here.
Yep.
But he just totally blows the tackle.
Yeah, look at him make up the ground, though he was so far behind the play that it's amazing that he was even where he is right now in order to try and make the tackle.
Yeah.
Right. That guy's actually, by the looks of it, a pretty scary player. I think we looked at the personnel at the beginning of this game, and we avoided passing to his side of the field.
Yeah, he's got like well over 90 speed for a safety. Like, he's crazy.
He is obviously very fast. The way that he bid on that play fake, and then the way that he made that distance up, like, he's way faster than the free safety is.
But leaving his feet there, not the best idea anyways.
No, he probably should have just stayed on his feet and kept pursuing. He probably would have saved a touchdown anyway. But anyhow, just to finish up my last comment on this, I may have said it already, this play is the out-of-the-box, play-action, quick hits play. However, I never throw to the short guys when I run this play. I'm always looking to throw the bomb to the slot guy.
Yeah.
Because if it's like I heard John Madden, I believe, himself say one time when I was watching a football game many years ago, play action, you want to try and hit a home run. You're trying to throw a long bomb and score a touchdown quick with play action. You're not trying to dink and dunk them. Like, why do the play fake thing and then throw a short pass? Like, what's the point?
Yeah.
Right? You do a play action in order to give you a chance to freeze the safeties and get a guy deep so that you can burn him. And that's exactly what happened this time. Well, now we're going to look at basically the same play that we demonstrated with Parkman, only this time the team is the Spitfires, and the fullback is Mike Carey,
he's actually a reasonably speed fullback. He's an average speed fullback.
He's an average speed fullback. He's got about 62 speed.
Yeah.
So this is the difference that 62 speed makes over 49 speed. So if you run the play, it basically sets up pretty much the same way that the run by Parkman did, right? So your halfback gets out there and does a really nice block on the corner. Of course, that's Brooks. He's a little more physical than our Crusaders halfback is, so he actually pancakes the guy.
Yep.
Because I actually use Brooks as a second fullback in a lot of situations too.
Yeah, he's got a really sky-high run blocking ability, right?
Yeah. So that linebacker dives at me and misses, which they will do sometimes if you're running at an angle. And then the safety comes along and he tries to tackle Mike Carey, but Mike Carey has a fairly high break tackle rating because this is about 3 or 4 seasons in.
So he's a well-developed player by now.
He's a well-developed player. He's a 90-plus rated fullback. Okay. And so Mike Carey tears off a 40-yard touchdown run. And of course, this play was designed to go to Brooks to the right.
Yep.
Right? But it was an audible because they shifted the line to that side that I wanted to run to. So they didn't even have the linebackers committed to that side. But you can see, though, the difference between a team that's won, say, 4 Super Bowls in a row and a brand new cupcake team in the case of the Crusaders that hasn't played a full season yet.
Yeah.
Right? The offensive line completely buries the defensive line on this play. Right? You know, like if you look at number 78 there, who's shoving that guy down the field, well, he is a 4-time Pro Bowl left tackle.
Yeah.
And, you know, like he helps to make that play a lot too, right? And he is a superb blocker in both running and passing. And if you look at the left guard, well, he does an okay job. You know, the center does a good job on his guy.
Yeah, Rock Dishman.
Rock Dishman. Yeah, Rock Dishman is the center.
The guy who they were talking down.
In season 5, he's actually a candidate for the Pro Bowl too. And then you have number 81 there, who is a guy named Oleski, who is actually my second string tight end. But he subs in for fullback too sometimes when Brooks is in the halfback position in this particular play. I used substitutions to put Brooks in there because I wanted to give Brooks some running experience and also some blocking experience because I actually had my second fullback that I had drafted, who was a great pass receiver, get injured this season.
And so that's
and he had a season-ending injury. So Brooks is now
filling that role.
But I try and give him opportunities to carry the ball from the halfback position too, because he actually was my halfback when I won the second Super Bowl, because Thompson got injured late in the season.
Yep.
So Brooks ended up carrying the ball for me through the playoffs. And Brooks is a slow guy. He's basically one speed point faster than our Lifers halfback,
Anthony
Gaines, at 80 speed. But Brooks has some characteristics that make him, I guess, what people would call a big back.
Yeah, he's very strong, very good blocking.
Yeah, he has very high run blocking, particularly, and he's got a good ability to break tackles. I mean, you see that block on the corner there? That was a mismatch, right? He just plowed over that guy. So
yeah, he even slides backwards a little ways after he hits the ground there.
But anyway, the Spitfires in Season 5, they're a powerhouse. Like I said, I won the Super Bowl in my 4th season with this team on all Madden difficulty. And I basically lost 2 regular season games in 5 seasons.
Yeah.
So, anyway, that was enough of that, but it was basically just an interesting contrast between Parkman and a fullback who actually has average speed for this position. So, it looks like we're going to be doing a lot of offense this time around.
A lot of Sandman 99 offense.
A lot of Sandman 99 offense.
I have to say, in between pauses here, we're still bickering over the clown pass.
Yeah. Well,
right.
I know you don't like the clown pass.
Yeah, clown pass.
But you know what? I can do other things besides the clown pass. Anyway, this looks like an audible because there's all sorts of players in the wrong positions here.
Yeah, you got Clark in the slot position on the left, and you got tight end Easley. He's a converted fullback into tight end, sitting on the split end on the left there as number 35.
Yeah. And then, thank goodness, Mills, the wide receiver, is in the slot position on the right.
Yeah, 84 number.
Yeah,
the 5'5" wide receiver.
Yeah, who's that on the far right though?
I think that's
Parkman.
Oh God!
And then we've got Westbrook as the halfback. So I think this was audible. Yes, this was audible from the wishbone. And so what I'm thinking is they probably stacked the line in man lock, and this happened to be the play I had selected as an audible pass.
Yep.
So what this is basically is the 2 outside receivers, and this is designed for a 4 wide receiver set, by the way.
Yep.
The 2 outside receivers run a cut 90 degrees in and then straight toward the sidelines.
Flat route. Yeah.
And the 2 inside receivers run a 45-degree cut toward the middle of the field each, and then straight ahead for 5 yards, and then they run at more or less a 45-degree angle out toward the sideline.
Yep. Also,
corner route.
Yeah. Also noteworthy about the personnel on the field, Clark has, I think, 84 speed and Mills has 83.
Yeah.
So they're okay speed players, speed-wise.
And another thing that we need to say is that the team we're playing against is the male barnyard poultry type birds, who are a strong defense team.
Yes.
So their defense is not a pushover.
Yeah, they have like one of the best defenses in the league. They're even they consistently do better than the Zombies.
Yeah, they pounded us when we played them as the Lifers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, here we go. So this is an audible pass play. Again, I like to make defenses pay when they man lock and stack the line. And so here we go. Now, this is kind of weird because it looks like the 2 outside guys, even though they're big and slow, are being treated as though they are wide receivers.
And they're double covered.
And they're both being double covered, which means that I have my choice now as to which guy I want to throw the ball to deep.
Yeah.
I could throw to Clark on the left, or I could throw to Mills on the right. And because Mills on the right is actually better at catching, that was what influenced my decision to throw it to him, because I didn't want to throw it to Clark, who was wide open, and have him drop the ball.
Yeah.
So, of course, for some reason, they just left the safeties as too deep. And, like all of their man coverage, basically they had a man locked up on Westbrook. You can see him kind of moving around in the middle, almost acting like a spy, following Dorsey around.
Yep.
Right? In fact, he might have even been a spy. And then they had, by the looks of it, maybe they didn't double cover those guys. Maybe they were playing flats with two of those guys, right?
Yeah, because they're moving out like they're playing flat zones. Yeah.
Yeah. And then they had man lock on
each of them.
Yeah, the two safeties. I'm not sure what they were doing, but they both moved toward the middle of the field. I'm guessing that the 45-degree cut at the beginning of this pattern is what made them move toward the middle of the field.
It looks like this is a man coverage type deal with no deep zone.
And then if you watch them, though, they both turn around the wrong way. Right? Just like what you demonstrated in an earlier recording with your out/corner route that you run.
Yep.
So they both turn the wrong way. So now there's like massively, I've got two receivers deep who are massively open. And you know what? I'm a bomber. I look for the long pass first. If the defense is going to force me to pass, I try to throw a long bomb against them. And, like almost all of the pass plays that I design, even the ones out of the wishbone, have somebody going deep.
Even if they're not open most of the time.
Even if they're not open most of the time. And if I don't throw deep, it's because I've audibled to a shorter route depending on what the defense lines up showing me.
Flat pass.
Yeah.
Just like the AI.
Yeah, flat pass, just like the AI. I throw to the flats. But every play that I design is designed to go deep first. And this play is no different. He catches the ball just like he's supposed to. The safety makes a desperate dive, but there's nobody there to help him. And wide receiver against safety is usually a mismatch, even against the male poultry barnyard type
Cox.
Their safeties are pretty good players.
Yeah, he managed to really close that ground on you.
Oh yeah, because he's faster. It's just that I turned at the last second when he dove. And that's just a function of luck, really. I know that if I'm running like that, I know that the AI tends to do that. So at some point, I'll try an abrupt change of direction just to see if I can make him miss.
And shake him, yeah.
And sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
And this time, it worked. And I got an easy, long touchdown.
Against one of the best defenses in the league.
Against one of the best defenses in the league. But that's the hazards of man lock against tight formations. Okay, so this play looks pretty much like the previous one. And again, it's a case of an audible. So and again, it's against the male barnyard poultry type birds. And they must have man-locked again. But this time their coverage is a bit different. But the net effect is still the same. Now, basically what this formation is a shotgun tight. It's the out-of-the-box shotgun tight formation.
Nothing special here.
Which can be found in many of the vanilla playbooks.
Yep.
The only thing different about it, of course, is that I drew all the pass patterns.
Yeah, and also it's called from an audible, so you got players playing wrong positions as usual.
True, but the wide receiver in the slot on the right is still the starting wide receiver.
Yep.
And you can see he runs into a bit of traffic this time.
Yeah, it looks like there's a linebacker there jamming him a little bit.
Yep, and you'll notice that I roll to the right because the pocket started to collapse on the left side a little bit. And you can see Westbrook moved over there and kind of cut blocked a guy and held him up. But by the time I get around here and throw, well, Mills has beaten the coverage. And
the one deep guy in the middle is of no use.
The one deep guy in the middle. It looks like they were playing a man lock with one deep safety because you can see the safety backpedaling straight back.
Yep.
And it almost looks like they've got another guy playing a short zone there. And it looks like maybe the reason that I came so far open there is because those two defensive players collided, I think.
Yeah, and it kind of screws up the man coverage assignment there, yeah.
Because it looks like the man coverage wasn't bad until he bumped into that guy playing zone.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, that held him up long enough that I was able to get wide open.
The embarrassing thing where the two defensive players run into each other.
Yeah. So I think this was like a one deep robber or something, maybe, because that's what they call the guy who plays the hook zone right there. That linebacker, he's basically playing a hook zone. And yeah, the defender, it looks like the defender was right in my hip pocket there up until we got to that point. But that's one of the reasons why I do the 45 cut toward the middle of the field.
Yeah, and you can see the man coverage over on Clark is much better than it was in the previous play, too.
Yeah, he's not wide open. I might still be able to complete the pass to him if I lead the ball to the outside well enough. But depending on how the ball is thrown, that defender might be able to close the gap and get a hand in there, or he might even be able to jump up and intercept the ball if he's really good.
Yeah, it is still pretty tight coverage. He's doing a good job over there.
Yeah, that's tight coverage, and I'm not going to try and throw it to him. But look at how long it took, though. Another reason why I rolled out here is because I was looking at Mills, and I saw that he got jammed. And what I'll do quite often is I'll roll out and I'll wait to see if he comes open, even if he gets caught up in some traffic, which happened there. And if he does come open, then I'll throw the ball to him. And if he doesn't, well, Dorsey is a bit of a mobile quarterback.
So you can pull that ball down and try to get away.
One of the reasons that I roll like that is because it gives me the option to pull the ball down and run with him if I feel that I need to. Although in this particular case, I got hit right after I threw.
Well, the Cox also have some really good defensive ends, too. They're really quite fast.
Yeah, they're 70-plus speed guys who are incredibly strong, and that guy fought off the block there pretty well. However, it looks to me like the miscue in the secondary there, where the coverage guy basically ran into his own man, right? Yeah, and that's exactly what happened, right?
Yep.
You can see that there was contact there, and it held him up for a couple of steps, and that was enough for me to get loose. And of course, Dorsey throws a nice, accurate ball for a cupcake quarterback, too.
Well, he's like an 84 overall quarterback. He's not a bad quarterback. He's just on a bad team.
Yeah. He's the best player on a bad team. And I just love to throw the long bomb. Look at this. It's beautiful. I love throwing deep. And, like that's just a thing of beauty there.
Mm.
But that's enough of that. Okay, so we have a lot of Sandman 99 highlights in this particular recording, but that's because RecV5X has been a little busy working on a personal project and hasn't really had time to play much Madden. So as a result, most of the replays this time around are ones from me. But anyway, here we go. This is a defensive replay, and basically, what I've done here is I've moved the left defensive end outside of the tackle, the way that I do sometimes when I'm coming on the blitz.
Yep.
It's because the AI likes to leave extra people in to block, and the idea is I want to come around the end and wipe out the halfback, who is probably going to be the pass blocker.
Yep.
So that the oncoming defensive back just immediately to the right of my player and charge into the backfield unopposed. However, this time around, things didn't quite work out that way. So here I come. Here comes the linebacker blitzing. The halfback steps up and ignores me. And actually...
He's running out on a pass route.
Yeah, it looks like he's trying to run out on a pass route, but he gets hung up in the line. And I actually came charging around the end and went, ooh. And then I flick the hit stick here real quick, and I lower the boom on the quarterback.
Leaving your feet.
Leaving my feet. That's scary with a defensive end. You can kill someone by doing that. And the ball comes out. And of course, the blitzing defensive back there
fumbles around with it a little bit.
Yeah, but he does manage to recover the fumble. So it's a sack fumble in a most satisfying way. And I know in a couple of our lifers replays, I've demonstrated this technique, but I end up usually pancaking the blocking halfback.
Yeah.
And then the defensive back coming on the blitz gets the quarterback.
But hit stick from a defensive lineman on a quarterback is pretty deadly.
Yeah, that's very high probability of causing a fumble. And these guys, the Wizards, they are a passing team. They come out passing. And by the way, this is also on all Madden difficulty because the Leopards I have switched them to all Madden difficulty because I'm working on slider sets to try and get a bit more balanced game.
Offensive output from the AI.
Yeah. However,
they still come out passing all the time.
They still come out passing all the time. And we end up seeing a lot of this kind of thing going on.
Yep.
So, anyhow, I've shown this particular playoff many times, but I wanted to show this just because it's fun when you pound the quarterback. So, this replay actually starts with the play already started because it's such a long replay.
Yeah.
But anyhow, we're looking at the... what team are we looking at here?
We're looking at, you're playing Spitfires. Looks like you're playing against the Guppies.
Yeah, it's the Guppies. So they're a passing team. And we're late in the Spitfires' career here, either season 4 or 5. So we're playing all Madden.
Yep.
And here we go. The quarterback throws this ball.
Looks like he had forever to throw it, too.
Well, it looks like he had pretty good protection.
Yep.
But if we follow this pass now, where it goes, it looks as though it's one-on-one with the wide receiver. But look at what the cornerback Clay does. He jumps up and he snags the ball with one hand.
You don't see that very often.
Yeah, and then looks like the strong safety there gives him a block.
Yep.
Because he was playing the curl flat underneath. And then Clay he's a speedster, so he outruns everybody. And he heads for the end zone. So this was a one-handed catch and about a 90-yard interception return by Clay.
Just totally out of nowhere.
Yeah, just totally out of nowhere. Because on all Madden, because they throw so much, and like if you just play with the default position sliders, well, they can pretty much pass at will.
But because they pass so much, you get a lot of opportunities for this kind of thing.
Because they pass so much, you get a lot of opportunities for this kind of thing.
And once in a while, it just sets up.
Yeah. And also, because this is the 5th season and Clay has been on the team for a few years, well, he is a Pro Bowl caliber cornerback.
Yep.
In fact, in earlier replay recordings, I think we were showing him playing right corner.
Yeah.
And he got promoted to left corner. And the guy who was playing left corner now plays right corner. So, and anyway, Clay is a very, very good player now. He's probably one of the best defenders on the team.
Probably one of the best defenders in the league.
And, he's got speed to spare. And he can catch. He can knock the passes down. Good player. So, anyway, that was a pretty spectacular catch and run for a touchdown. And by the way, even on all Madden, my defense still scores a lot. But by contrast, I'll win games. I don't know what the score is in this one, but I'll win games. Oh, okay. It's like it's
beginning of the game.
Early in the game. This must have been their first possession or something.
Yep.
So it's early in the game. The score is tied, and they're trying to throw a long bomb already against me.
What a move of dominance. Right early in the game.
Yeah. But anyway, like I said, on defense, I still score quite frequently, typically at least once a game. But the scores now, instead of being 42-7 or 38-3 or whatever. Well, now I'm still scoring, 35, 40, 45 points a game. But now I'm allowing between 20 and 30 points a game.
Yep.
And in season 4, even though I won the Super Bowl, I finished 15-1.
You were dead last against the pass, right? I was
dead last in the league again in passing yardage allowed. Even though I was near the top in points allowed per game.
Jeez.
And that's because they would come out passing like this, and either it's an all or nothing thing. You either completely stop them dead or they burn you, right?
Yeah.
So you either give up a big play or you stop them dead. There's no happy medium. There's no in between, and they come out passing 80% of the time, regardless of who you're playing.
Yeah, even if they're in the lead.
Yeah, doesn't matter. Even if they're in the lead, It doesn't matter what kind of personnel they have. They could have two 90-plus rated halfbacks and a fairly mediocre receiver group, but they still come out and pass 3 out of every 4 plays.
Yeah, whereas at least on All Pro, you can force them to run a little bit.
Yeah, on
switch
All
up
Pro,
their strategy.
on All Pro, the play calling is much more balanced. And I think what we need to do on All Pro is we need to continue to work on the sliders just to help out the AI a little bit, maybe defensively or something.
Yeah.
Because they play terrible defense.
Yes, they do.
And on All Madden, they still play terrible defense. Anyway.
Wait. Okay.
Well, we just caught a little bit of reverse there. Now, the method of offense that I play, I will audible to a pass, and if it doesn't look like they're giving me a deep pass, like if they've got the safety sitting back there deep, I'll very often audible to a flat pass to the wide receiver. It's a very easy pass to complete. It's a very quick pass, so teams that like to cluster people in the middle, like what you see here, and blitz 2 or more linebackers, or especially these guys are the bad men, so they have a very strong defensive line.
Yep, they're all Madden team.
And we're playing on All Madden difficulty. But anyway, you drop back to pass, and here goes our wide receiver. Okay, even on All Madden, it's very difficult, as you can see, for the AI to defend this pass. He catches it, but this is the hazard of having a receiver alone on the outside. Okay, it's an awfully close play, but you can see the defender hits him pretty good, and the ball comes out. And then the safety comes up, and he picks up the ball and runs it down the field.
And there's nobody around him.
And there's nobody to stop him because that receiver was isolated alone on the outside. So that is the one risky thing about that type of pass, is that if your receiver fumbles the ball, you're in very great danger of, giving up a turnover resulting directly in a touchdown. Okay. And I did challenge this play because I almost always challenge fumbles in this game, because about 7 out of every 10 times that I challenge a fumble, it turns out that the play is reversed. Because for some reason they let the play continue, rather than whistling it dead and making the other team have to challenge.
Yeah.
But as you can see, it's really close, like at full speed. And of course, you're not allowed to look at the replay before you throw the challenge flag. If you look at the replay, you lose the opportunity to challenge.
Yeah.
So you're challenging what you saw at full speed. And when you look at this in slow motion, well, the guy's knee was inches off the turf.
Yeah.
Right? When the ball came out.
But at full speed, it definitely looks different.
At full speed, it looks different than that. So I ended up losing this challenge. But, like when you have a turnover like this that results in a touchdown against, and I believe this was in Season 4, and I think the Bad Men were actually the only team to beat me in Season 4. I ended up with a 15-1 record, and this was the game that I ended up, eventually losing. And, things like that, I mean, that's, like I said, one of the risks to throwing that quick flat pattern out to wide receiver. If he gets hit hard and he drops the ball, well, then there's no one out there on your team to try and recover the fumble.
Yeah, and I guess it's risky too, because all Madden corners, they hit like linebackers.
Yeah. Well, that being said, though, this kind of thing doesn't really happen too often. What I've noticed is that this will happen maybe 2 or 3 times in a season.
Yeah.
Which isn't bad. Once every 3 or 4 games, you might have a situation like that. But, it was just bad timing in this particular case. And the Bad Men subsequently went on to win this game. I think it was pretty close. I think the final score was 24-20 or something like that.
Yep.
But
it's this touchdown right here that wins them the game.
Yeah. I'm not sure what the score was or what the time was here.
Oh, looks like 27-0. right here.
Yeah, and they're... Oh, okay. I was ahead 27-0.
Yeah, so this is probably where they start to run away with it.
Oh, I don't know. They had nothing up to this point.
I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe I did. Maybe it wasn't the bad men that beat me then. I don't know. Don't remember.
It's just one of those things.
Yeah. Anyway, the score was 27-7 after this play.
Yeah. Yep.
But yeah, I know maybe this was season 5, right? Because I play the bad men every season because of the parity scheduling.
Yep.
So in season 4, I think they did beat me, but in season 5, I think I beat them. So, because actually in season 5, I'm almost at the end of season 5 now, and I'm undefeated so far. But anyway, that's just one of those things that may seem like kind of a bit of a cheaty thing. You're taking advantage of an AI play calling tendency that they just can't seem to break.
Yeah, they never play a flat zone. They almost never play a flat zone.
Yep, they always play man lock and either 2 deep or 1 deep. And they bring the corners in to the center of the field. And if they just left, even if they wanted to play man under, if they left when you bunch up in the middle of the field like that, if they left the corners out,
it would
like
contain this kind of thing.
Yeah, if they would not man lock, it would contain that kind of thing. And you know what? I make hundreds and hundreds of yards passing a season on this particular pass play.
Yeah, 65% completion percentage in a season, and the majority of the passes are little flat passes.
That's right. Well, that's why I complete 65% of my passes, though, because, you know, like when I'm not throwing the bomb, I'm usually throwing this pass.
Yeah.
And once in a while it backfires, but not very often. So we're back with the Crusaders again. And our backup Kraus, who, by the way, subsequently suffered a severely broken leg.
Yep.
And he's out for the rest of the season now. However, Dorsey did come back from his injury in the nick of time. So
after the third string guy had to finish the game and had a ridiculously good game, completed 75% of his passes.
Yeah, but that may be a reflection of the system more than the player, right?
Yeah, because he's only got 56 quarterback accuracy. He's
but
dreadful.
Anyway, left-handed quarterback Kraus here did surprisingly well until his season ended with his broken leg. But anyway, again, we've kind of beaten this one to death, but I got to show it off again because this is really a big thing that they need to fix or needed to fix but never did in Madden 05.
Yeah, this is the entire reason why I started developing a custom playbook for them. It's based around the nickel instead of the 4-3 or the 3-4.
Yeah, because there's no way that you should put a 4-3 out against a 3 wide receiver set. There's just no way, because that linebacker cannot cover Coleman.
And Coleman's not even that fast. He's only got 80 speed.
And I mean, the Wizards do not have a very good defense anyway. They are a strong offense team.
And so this just exacerbates the problem.
So their linebackers are not really great, but you can see the free safety there. He's got a double coverage assignment by the looks of it, or a flat assignment. Right?
Yeah,
like he is not paying any attention to the slot receiver at all.
It's just a completely wrong play call.
Yeah. Well, wrong formation, because I don't really care what kind of defense you put out there in a 4-3. If you put a 4-3 defense out against this formation, I'm going to beat you over the head with it.
Yeah,
and here we go. I mean, Kraus is not particularly mobile either. I think he's got low 50s speed.
Yeah, you can see the receiver even has to cut a little shallow there and move to the outside to catch that one.
He's not a terribly accurate passer either. But you know what? That receiver was so wide open that there was no way that I was not going to complete that pass.
Yeah. So
and you know, I get good protection from the line, right? Like the left tackle there completely dominates their right end. And they're not bringing any... Well, they are bringing an extra guy, but he's coming from the opposite side, and he gets picked up by the left guard.
Yeah, the left guard does a good job there, probably because you're rolling.
Yep. And, you know, like it looks like the short guy there has got 2 people covering him, and the slot guy's got a linebacker. And he's already 10 yards behind that guy.
Yeah.
So there's no way. that he is going to... I didn't even leave extra people in the block here. I sent the tight end out into the pattern.
Set the
I sent the
halfback
halfback out to the flat. Right? So this was basically just the offensive line blocking. And, yeah, terrible coverage.
Terrible formation, terrible play selection. This is part of the reason why,
If that right outside linebacker is the nickel back instead, this probably doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, this again, like, this is part of the reason why I started developing this new nickel playbook for the defensive AI that I've been working on, and the playbook actually does not include a 4-3 or a 3-4, specifically because I wanted to solve this problem so that the AI doesn't do this anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, it should be interesting to see because, as far as I'm concerned, the nickel defenses here are not that bad against the run.
Yeah, they're still pretty good against the run.
In fact, they still stack everybody on the line anyway, even when they come out in the nickel. But
ideally, at least having the right personnel out there should make a difference, especially for these worse teams.
Yeah, if they've got a nickel back out there with low 80 speed, he's going to keep up with Coleman because Coleman's speed is only 80.
Yeah.
Right? There's no way that Coleman is going to outrun a defensive back, but he will outrun
most linebackers.
Most linebackers, even on good teams.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's just a mismatch, and it's a mismatch that I exploit. And again, this would have been on first down, I believe, if we look at the score clock.
Yeah, looks like first down, probably. Yeah.
Yeah, see there at the bottom, it says down.
Yep.
Yeah. And, yeah, I'm up 24-7 already, and after this play, I'm up 31-7. And one of the reasons that I blow out just about everybody that I play is because of this kind of thing, right? I'm the mad bomber. I click on at least 3 or 4 deep passes every game that I play.
Yeah, I'm more like the scan pass guy. I sit back and I just try to read the coverage.
But that's the thing, right? I know that what I'm doing is I'm just looking at the play before the snap. And I know that if I call a run play out of the single back formation and then I see them come out in a 4-3,
they're screwed.
I can audible to this pass or to the play action quick hitter or to shotgun tight with the corner routes that we already demonstrated in here. You know, like I can audible to any of those kinds of deep pass plays and I can burn them because they don't have the right people on the field.
Yeah.
And that's really what caused this one as much as anything. I mean, they do have man coverage. I'm not sure what the strong safety's doing there. Whether this was a one deep scheme or if it's
all man coverage.
It's basically a zero scheme by the looks of it.
Yep. All man coverage.
Yep. And they were sending a linebacker from the left or from the right side of the screen, I guess, their left outside linebacker. Looks like he's coming on a blitz. And they were, by the looks of it, doubling the wide receiver on the left.
Yep. And they got single coverage on everybody else on the right.
And they got single coverage on everybody else. But the guy that they have covering Coleman can't cover him. He's too slow.
Yep.
And that's just, the AI calling a play where they're putting a demand on a player that he can't
fulfill it.
Yeah, he can't do this. He can't execute this coverage. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what your new AI use defensive playbook looks like. I look forward to it. Okay, so we started this recording with a defensive play. And we're going to end this recording with a defensive play. And this is basically very similar to the recording we showed earlier where I managed to hit stick the quarterback. There's no hit stick in this one, but basically here's what happens. We start the play, and the fullback tries to go out into the pattern, which is quite often what the fullback does for some reason. And they leave the halfback in the block on the right-hand side.
Yep.
But since I'm coming with pressure from the opposite side of the formation...
2 guys.
he doesn't. They've basically got 3 blockers over there who are not doing anything. They're not blocking anyone. And of course, you know, number 40 Hill there, he's coming on the blitz, and I've got the right defensive end, who I would usually use to eat up the block of the tight end or the fullback. In this case, if they'd left the fullback into block, I'd be eating up the block there so that Hill could get in there and get the sack.
Yep.
However, they didn't leave the fullback in. They decided to send him out, and I get bumped by him a little bit, but it doesn't really help them any. And so I just get in around the edge, and poor quarterback doesn't have much of a chance.
Yeah, even if that guard somehow does come back and actually engage with you and block you, that quarterback's still going down. There's no chance.
And again, this is the Wizards. This is on all Madden difficulty. So
yeah, they have a good line. They have good.
They have a good offensive line, and they have a pass-oriented offense. So anyway, if you look at the rest of the coverage here, it looks like they've got split backs with 3 wide receivers. They've got the slot guy on the right-hand side of the formation. And it looks like the quarterback is definitely looking right. He doesn't turn around and look toward the left guy at all.
Yeah, he probably sees this guy.
Yeah.
It looks like you're playing a little bit of flats underneath.
And it looks like I got away with one here just because of the quick pressure, because it looked like I was playing a zone here, and they were sending 2 guys into the zone.
And flooding the zone.
So the corner has to pick one of them.
And he picks the inside guy.
He picks the inside guy, and the other guy's running a corner route. So they're probably, well, they might not, if they click on this pass, they might not get a touchdown all at once, but they will get a big gain before the corner can move over and tackle this guy.
Yep.
Although they were close to my end of the field, so I'm thinking that you know, this was their attempt to throw one into the end zone, which they quite often tend to do from this point on the field. And one of my solutions is, when I see them line up with no tight end, is I come on a blitz like this, because I know that they're not going to have enough personnel in there to properly protect him.
Unless they leave both backs in.
Yeah, and in this case, it was just a case of the pass rush getting there faster
Then the quarterback could throw the ball.
Because
he definitely winds up, too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, he was going to throw that pass, for sure. And I'm pretty sure he was going to throw the corner route, because I didn't have everything covered down there. This was strictly a speed, blitz, and sack, basically.
Yep.
Right? You know, that corner's in a good position, and he's a fast player, but he's not that fast. I don't think he would have been able to cover both of those receivers at once.
Yeah.
And on all Madden as well, one of the things that I noticed is that they don't necessarily make the offensive players play better.
They just make the defense.
They make the defensive players play dumber.
Yeah.
So lots of our recordings, people will see the quarterback drop back and throw a pass down the field, and the corner or the man coverage guy underneath
will try to stick his hand up.
Will actually stick his hand up and try and deflect the ball away. But on all Madden difficulty, more often than not,
he's got his hands at his sides.
Yeah, that player just has his hands hanging at his sides, and he just sort of runs with the receiver and lets the receiver catch the pass uncontested.
Yeah.
And then if you're lucky, he'll have the presence of mind to tackle him after he catches the ball.
But not always, especially if he's like a cupcake player.
And I've actually had some times when a defender actually turns and runs the wrong way, and he'll actually run away from the receiver that is about to catch the ball.
Yeah.
So, you know, like I said, they kind of spoiled the all Madden mode on this. I think the best mode to play this game on is all pro, because all pro, at least the defense plays somewhat realistically. They don't always succeed in knocking passes away and that kind of thing, but at least they try.
Yeah, there doesn't seem to be anything cheesy or scripted about it.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas on all Madden, playing defense, the defensive backs, it's very cheesy. they don't really defend the pass so much as they're basically just pylons out there that the receivers run around.
Yeah.
They basically what they do on all Madden is they take away the defender's intelligence. They don't make the offensive play calling better. They don't, like they don't really, or they don't make the play calling better on offense and defense.
Yep.
And as far as I can tell on defense, they don't really play any better than they do on All Pro. Because, like I said, I was still, even though I cranked up defensive AI sliders to the max to try and give them better success at defending, I'm still, getting the more or less the same offensive results that I was before.
And a lot of it just comes down to play selection too, right?
Yeah,
like
a
they
lot
can
of it
have
comes
the
down
best
to
players in the world out there, and
yeah, exactly. A lot of it comes down to play selection, and some of those long bomb touchdowns that I beat them on all Madden that we demonstrated earlier in this, it's not because like their pass rushing is good, their individual play is pretty good, but their play calling is not. And really, what I would have expected, I guess I'm kind of editorializing and doing a review now, but what I would have expected to go bumping it up from All Pro to All Madden was not necessarily making the players play stronger or better or whatever, but I would have expected the play calling, the coaching part of it, to be better. The strategy part of it to be better.
yeah.
And one other thing that I noticed too is that on All Madden, I went from being basically first in the league in most defensive categories to being last in the league in passing yardage allowed, but
Still first in the league against points against.
yeah, still first in the league in points against, and first in the league in red zone scoring percentage defensively.
First in the league in sacks.
First in the league in sacks. In the top 5 in the league in interceptions, although I had to turn the pass defense sliders up a bit, because what I noticed too is if you play on with the interception slider just at 10,
You never got an interception all season.
Never get an interception. I played
A whole season.
played 6 straight games before I adjusted it, and even though numerous times a defender would get hit right in the hands with the ball,
It was like they couldn't catch hands of stone.
It's like they couldn't catch anymore.
Yeah.
Right. And once I turned that up, I think I bumped it up 5 points or something. I turned it up to about 15, and then I started getting an interception,
One or two,
an interception every game, or 2 interceptions every 3 games.
Yeah.
I never did get too many games where I had multiple interceptions.
Yeah.
And again, also on offense, I noticed that the main difference was all of a sudden I couldn't run anymore.
Yeah.
I would snap the ball, and the defensive line would just run over my offensive line and tackle whoever had the ball.
But you could still throw the flat passes.
But I could still
fine.
throw. I could still throw the flat passes. I could still burn them on the deep passes
when they line up in the 4-3.
But when I played on All Pro, I tended to be in around the between 150 and 200 yard passing mark every game.
Yeah.
But my rushing yardage would be up around 150 yards a game.
Yeah.
But on All Madden, I could not get 100 yards rushing, even if I handed the ball off 40 times.
Yeah.
But I would still be at between 350 and 400 yards passing a game.
Just because of the types of plays they call.
Mainly because I'd be forced to pass more.
Yeah.
And their pass defense did not improve substantially between All Pro and All Madden.
Yeah.
However, their run defense was ridiculous. So the All Madden difficulty level, in my opinion, is very unbalanced. And it's not really as much fun to play as the All Pro skill level is, mainly because of play balance and the fact that, for the most part, the players don't, on the AI side of the ball, don't execute any better on All Madden than they do on All Pro. Basically, on All Madden, they just make your players dumber.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, I guess I've beaten that to death. And this is it for this recording. We are out of replays.
So I'm Rick V5.
And I'm Sandman99.
Have a good one.
Getting down off my soapbox now.